Welcome to Women in Paint. Whether your paint story is dripless or an old school mix of project management, business ownership, or modern estimation, the stories of women in paint are now part of the industry's rising success. We'll educate, encourage, and promote diversity and gender equality by giving you a behind the scenes look at our proven skills, business acumen, and driving force that propels anyone to find meaningful opportunities and a career path that challenges lives through paint. Now let's welcome your host, Michael Cheney.
Welcome to the show. I've got my buddy on with me today. He's also my teammate at No Drip Painting. His name is Baker McBride, and he is our sales coordinator. Bake, thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, this is going to be fun. Yes, that's right. So we have a sales coordinator position, and it's kind of a unique position, I think. I don't hear a lot of folks talking about this position, but we're going to build it out, and we're going to explain the process from start to finish. Before we do that, though, Baker, let's talk a little bit about you and, all the amazing value you bring to the business. But what's your story with paint? How did you get into paint?
So the paint journey starts in college. I had a buddy recommend me that he had a fun gig at Sherwin-Williams, just slinging paint, getting active, and better than sitting around at a desk. And so I joined up when I was, I think, a sophomore or junior in college, just working part time, and ended up really liking it. I ended up doing a Sherwin-Williams internship, so that worked out really well. Got me a little bit more into the management side of it. And then I did that, and then I ran with that, and then became an assistant manager in Grove City. That's where I had the pleasure of meeting everyone here at No Drip, and the connection's been strong ever since. And then I ended up taking a manager position in New Albany as well. So I ran that store in New Albany for about a year. So after about I'd say 4.5 years of Sherwin of paint stuff, if you would have told me I was doing paint like when I was 10, I would have been like, what are you talking about? But so I worked through all there, and then I did so I was a manager in New Albany, and I got a call from Michael one day, and the opportunity was there. So yeah.
Yeah. And look, if you work with store, especially store managers, you know that they have to be hard workers. I mean, the store managers, man, they work their tail off. So yeah, it worked. And I will just tell you that I've over the years had a few different members on the team, actually 2 currently, that have a Sherwin-Williams background. And just as a little, side plug here, try to recruit from Sherwin-Williams if you can. No, but seriously, the paint knowledge that comes with working at Sherwin-Williams and understanding paint and be able to talk to the customers is huge. And that's one certainly perk that you have, and I think helps you be successful in this sales coordinator role. In your words, Baker, we'll see if we align. What is a sales coordinator, or what is the job that you're doing at No Drip Painting?
Well, I'd say heavy emphasis on the coordination part. I'd say I'm just trying to make sure that the sales side of things, everything runs clean, and having leads come in from all over Columbus can get a little messy. And I'm sure some painting contractors out there have taken some leads that they probably either weren't qualified for or didn't want to be qualified for. So I'm sure that helps. But so yeah, coordinating everything like that, whether it's like managing calls coming in, people asking questions about what we actually do as a company, and if it's something we can do, and if we don't, I know that we probably have somebody out there we've worked with that can help them out. So we're helping somebody at the end of the day when they make a phone call here, so they're going to end up with something good. But and then the other side of coordination is you know making sure all the salespeople are lined up, their schedules look great, and there's a lot that goes into that too, and especially when it comes to outbound calls, like trying to get people back into it, to take a look at their estimate, to just some things to make the estimator's life a lot easier. And yeah, that's the main goal of mine throughout the day,
Yeah.
I'd say.
Yeah, for sure. And we'll kind of dig into that. Let's talk about some of the tools that we use. So if you think of some of the programs, I guess some of the tech stack, kind of rattle off some of our tools that we're using.
Yeah, so the main thing that I'm probably on majority of the day, about 80% of the day, is going to be our CRM, our Go High Level program. It's a marketing software that we use. It's pretty organized. We really like it. We've had some troubleshooting, but everything's going pretty smooth right now, and I can say that I like it. I've learned how to navigate it pretty well, and if we have a problem, we they're quick to help us out, and yeah, so can't complain about that.
Yep.
Um,
Our
Other
CRM
software,
level. Yeah. What else you got?
well, of course, we get a lot of connections through Google and Facebook. So we are, up to date on our Facebook page, refreshing that all day long, making sure we're checking our emails through Google. LSA leads coming in. These are customers who are filling out requests, same way as Go High Level, filling out requests, figuring out what scale of job they have, what they're looking at getting done, where they're located, and then reacting to that and helping them out the best way we can.
Yep, totally. And then we've got Paint Scout, which of course is our estimating program, which you're
Yep.
in probably more often than I think you're in. You're like a
Yeah,
whiz at
for
that
sure.
program. We use Google Drive, so we use Sheets a lot internally. All the free products from Google. That's my favorite, the free ones.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, big emphasis on social media. We'll build that out. We do use Ring Central for our calls. So
Oh,
you see Baker has a headset on. Our calls come through Ring Central. It's kind of our in-house call center. You can transfer calls within the business. So who Baker would most often transfer to is our production coordinator, who basically is doing all of the scheduling on the production side of things. Anything else? Am I missing anything?
no, I think that's the day to day. Yeah, I didn't mention Ring Central, but I really like that. It's helped out a lot. It makes everything smoother. Even just things like the audio and the quality just sounds better, smoother. I think customers have a better time understanding us, and I think we have a better time understanding them too. So it's nice.
Yeah, I like so far I like Ring Central, and you can like record calls. You can use it for coaching and feedback. We haven't really gotten to that point yet. The voicemail system seems to work well, and then the ability to transfer calls within the business, and
Yeah.
you can transfer calls to a cell phone too, which is also a nice little perk. All right, let's talk about our leads. So just to kind of build this out for folks, so. We get leads obviously a variety of different ways. We do have paid Facebook leads. Baker touched on LSA, which are the Google leads that we get. We actually get leads from Home Depot, and I'll chat about that one here in a minute. And then of course we have our repeat customers, which are homeowner residential repaint, and we do a lot of work with remodelers. So that's another big category we get. We do door hangers, and we're starting to see our fruits of labor from that come in. We have a street team this year that is out putting door hangers. Our production team also puts door hangers out there. So does our sales team. So that's another pipeline. And then we've got things like signs and vehicles and all those channels which bring in leads. And one of Baker's main jobs is to facilitate the lead. So let's take Facebook leads, for example, which right now is our biggest lead category. The way it works is someone fills out a form on Facebook that shows they're interested. And when that happens during normal business hours, it comes through our system, it comes through our CRM. And when they fill out that form, it prompts a notification in our CRM, and we immediately call them, right? And actually what happens is we get a call first, we hang on that call, and it connects us with the customer. Can you build out what that looks like? Because I know when we started using this, I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. So build out what that looks like, and then what's the customer's reaction when we are literally calling seconds after they've filled out a form?
Yeah. So it initially starts with them filling out a form through Facebook, and then I'm obviously Meta pulls their first and last name, email address, and phone number, the basic information. And then it's our job to follow up, get more information, and things like that. So a lead will come in, it'll pop up on our new lead stage. This is a line. Sometimes it's full of people, sometimes it's empty. We got to make sure to manage it the right way, but of course, it'll come in. Typically, the phone will ring when something connects. That's the CRM connecting the call to the request. If that call isn't taken, like if someone puts in a request on a Saturday or Sunday, it of course is back page to a little bit to where we can hit it again in that same pipeline. But the next step would be to call them, and all their information is there, so you can have a little bit of insight going into it, like based on area code, and even like an email address if they have their business and their email address and their name and everything like that. So that helps out a little bit. So we'll call them. If we don't have a connection on the first go, the CRM is automated to send an email, send a text to those numbers that they applied with. So that makes it a lot easier too. Sometimes people don't have time at 8:30 in the morning to take a call about a painting job. These people have lives too, and they're working hard out there, and so it's able to connect them. And sometimes I'll get texts back, I'll get emails back, and I'll respond to those as well, and make the process better for the customer if they're not a person that is talking on the phone all day. That's something we can do for them too. Yeah.
Yeah, so if you've ever heard the term speed to lead, the idea is that you want to reach back out to your lead as fast as possible. So
Yep.
during business hours, if we get a lead, it's instant. I mean, within seconds, we're contacting them. If
Yep.
they don't answer, they're still getting an email and a text message. But Baker's main priority there is that he's reaching out to the lead and saying, "Hey, I know you're interested in setting up a painting estimate. Here I am. I can set it up for you." So he's scheduling people like that. And then what happens after that? Say they don't answer, say they're like me and they don't want to answer any phone call that comes to them because they're afraid it's spam. I know that it moves over to another like holding category. Break out that process for us. So what happens when we don't get in touch with that lead? You've attempted, they're not
Mhm.
answering, you're leaving a voice message. What does that look like throughout the rest of the week?
Yeah, so every day I try to touch on each lead. Obviously, people are living their own lives, so they might not have time the first time, but of course we might have another chance later on. So I'll give a call the first day, no answer, and then I'll move it over to a second pipeline, and this will send another email and text. Sometimes they have the choice to opt out of it if they're not trying to receive all that. But so they'll get another text, they'll get another email, they'll get another call from me, usually a voicemail I'll leave, of course, and then that gives them another chance to. And a lot of times they'll pick up after the second, say, "Oh, I meant to get back to you." This is just being at convenience, being at their convenience. So maybe a second phone call is worth it for them, and maybe it's a good reminder. Same with the emails and texts. Also, say I make a call and they say, "Oh, actually." I just filled this out. I wasn't really too interested in getting painted. I'm getting my roof done, but in October it'll be done. How about you give me a call then? And then I'm able to take that and leave a note on that. So, for instance, Michael Chaney put a request in. I'm moving Michael Chaney over to an on hold section, and that way I can leave a note, say call back in October, and when October 1st rolls around, I'm looking through that list and I'm dialing them, and they say, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe you remembered me. I'm ready for a painting project," and boom, we're sending an estimator out. So keeping
Yeah.
track of all those is tricky, but the CRM makes it easy, so it's nice.
Yeah, and the other thing that happens is that the CRM is storing all of this contact information. So if you ask for, you fill out a form on Facebook, you schedule a project with us, we get your business card at a networking event. We put that in the CRM. So then all of these people are getting our newsletter. When we do a reactivation campaign once a quarter, they're hearing from us then. So now we've got this database of contacts that we can continue to market to. And I will say that, and you can correct me if I'm wrong here, Baker, but I think within the first 5 to 7 days, we hit a lead pretty hard and
Oh
we
yeah.
stay on it. And the thought process is, look, you said you were interested in an estimate. I'm going to be reaching out and getting you scheduled on our calendar.
Yeah, I'm gonna figure out why. And usually, you said 5 to 7 days. I'd say it's whether if a lead comes in on Monday, that lead is either booked or moved to a different category by probably halfway through the week. At least at the end of the day, the end of the week for sure. So it's
Yeah.
taken care of. So
Yeah.
we're
And
quick
then
on it.
let's talk about what happens if someone cancels, because people do from time to time cancel an estimate, that one that they've scheduled, and we have a process for that. What does it look like if someone, say you come in tomorrow morning and you've got a text through our CRM that says, "Hey, I need to cancel my estimate." What does that look like?
Yeah, so usually that comes with a message from the customer saying, "Hey, I need to cancel," and then they'll usually leave a reason why, say I had a doctor's appointment or I didn't end up closing on my house on the same day that I thought I was going to. And in that way, we can move it from a scheduled estimate to a canceled estimate. So then I can have another list of canceled estimates and I can have a reason why. So I can always call back. So someone's house didn't close at the same time and they were planning on getting painters in before movers, and they wanted to continue and they weren't able to because it didn't close. They wanted to get an estimate. Now I have a note on that, so I'm able to call them back, a few weeks later and touch up and say, hey, I did you end up closing on your house? Do you still need some painting done? And then that's when they follow up again and say, wow, I'm so surprised you remembered. Of course, come give me a quote on my brand new house. And that's where we want to hit real hard. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's definitely organized. So
So we are following up on cancels, circling back
yeah.
saying, hey, you canceled. Are you ready to get back on the schedule? What's the craziest reason someone's canceled for? Do you have a good one?
I mean, there's probably some crazy ones. I mean, obviously, like you never want to hear it, but like a hospital visit is usually something that happens.
Yeah.
Typically with older folks, that's nothing. I mean, of course, we want to be. We're super nice. Sorry to hear about that. Please reach out whenever you can. We're gonna be really nice about it. Go about it real nice. We're not just gonna cancel and say thank you next. We're gonna take care of them, send them a nice message, and then move them on.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe I'm trying to think of a crazy one, but I don't know. I don't know yet.
Well,
But
pick one, let me know. We also occasionally will have a situation where someone is scheduled and the estimator or sales rep shows up to do the appointment and they're not there. It's like a no call, no show. How
yep.
do we handle no call, no shows?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it happens to some painters out there. You have 2 hours marked off your schedule for the day, and nobody answers the door, and boom, those 2 hours are completely wasted. So at least we can try to strike again on that by moving them to a note. Same with the canceled estimates, a no call, no show, and I'm able to call them back and say, hey, um, I noticed that you weren't there. Usually they'll respond with throughout the day and say, oh my gosh, I completely forgot. I was at my mom's house helping her out with the groceries. I'll be right back over. And by then, our estimators are probably on with their day. But it's good to have that because we're able to move them, reschedule them, and get them another confirmed appointment that hopefully they'll answer. Yeah.
Now, one thing we do to try and curb the no call, no shows is we do have an automatic message that goes out 24 hours prior. It's a
Yeah.
text message and it's an email. It's done in our CRM that says, hey, don't forget you've got an estimate tomorrow. And then we do ask them to respond to confirm that. So that is kind of an automation that also goes out.
That's a
Um,
lifesaver.
what
Yeah.
how do you think your painting experience has helped you, like with all this product knowledge that you have, how do you think it's helped you with our customers?
Yeah, it definitely helps out so much. I mean, of course, like a lot of people can answer the phone and set up and type in some numbers on the computer and get everything scheduled, but it's these questions that I'm getting asked, and there's even questions that they're asking the estimators out there in the field too, that we're making sure everybody knows an answer to everything. We'll find an answer, but it's easier to do on the phone beforehand, so then the estimators aren't out in the field stumped when they ask them some crazy question about what paint you use or how do you paint a blah 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 whatever else they're talking about. So it's nice to have that knowledge. So if someone calls and say, hey, what's your process for painting cabinets, and I can just hit them with the, oh, clean them down, sand them, prime, and then top coat. We have a little bit more in-depth process, but I'll usually break it down for them, and if they have the time to talk about it, I have the time to chat and explain it, and it just warms up the estimator even better, so it helps the sale.
Yeah, it does. It helps. Like, one thing to keep in mind is a lot of times Baker's the first person that the potential customer talks to. So maybe they've seen something on social media, maybe a friend has referred them, but when they call in, they're getting Baker. And so that first initial impression is huge. And when they can call in and he's like, man, he is so knowledgeable in all the products and he can talk about our processes. I really think it makes it makes just a great first impression. The other thing I'll say, that another benefit that you give to the team with your product knowledge is you've done product training for us before, right?
Mhm.
You're like an expert in these materials. If we have questions, it's not uncommon for a sales rep to give you a call or a production person to say, hey,
Yeah, all
what
day.
do I use on this surface? So like the product knowledge comes in handy like you would not believe. He's helped build out SOPs for some of our finishes and some of our processes, which is amazing and super helpful. It's a huge asset to the business. What's one of the most difficult pieces of this job, would you say?
Of course, I mean, I'd say slow season is always something where as a painting company, I'm sure other people can relate, but slow season is always dreaded. So trying to stay on the top for that, have enough leads, have enough people to manage, and have enough estimates booked. So that's obviously something we have to prepare for. I'd say that's the scariest thing I can think about. Of course, calling and getting a complaint and things like that is scary. We don't get too many of those, and if they are, we have PMs and everybody to take care of that. Usually, it's not as a big deal as it comes out as I think it is, so that's good. But yeah, definitely, slow season is scary. We got to make sure we're on top of it, and but yeah, so got to be on top of those for
Yeah,
sure.
and so in the office, we have a monitor in the area that Baker's in, and it shows by weekly view, it shows each day, and it shows how many appointments have been scheduled. And so he's constantly looking at that. And I would say you're a very goal-oriented person, because if you're not hitting the number for the week, you've been known to stay late. You've been known to dig deep and figure out how to get these estimates scheduled.
Yeah.
And I think that's a great tool. I love walking in there and seeing. Well, I love walking in there and seeing when we have lots of estimates scheduled. But overall, I think it's nice for everyone to walk in, and it gives us a quick pulse as to where we are.
Yeah.
What's one of the things that you like about the sales coordinator position?
Obviously, I've worked in sales before. I've been out in the field as an estimator and been in here as well. And communication and just talking to people and the f- the fact of like making their day is the best part. Whether I was like working in Sherwin, like behind the counter, selling someone paint for a project that they're looking forward to, and seeing them smile and walk out, or giving them a deal or anything like that. Like that's what I like to do, to make their day. And if somebody's able to call in and say, "Oh my gosh, I just had a painting team on my job. I hired a company and they did a terrible job. Can you help me out and get something sent out tomorrow?" And I say, "Yeah, of course. Here's what we'll do," and break it down for them, kind of give them a little sign of relief. And that's just part of making their day. If that's what it takes to make their day, then so be it. So we'll be able to help them out. So it's definitely helping people out and being able to chat with customers, because I'd say about 95% of our customers are awesome. Like super
Yeah,
great experiences with them, and
for
we love
sure.
them all. And a lot of interactions come around here from Grove City and the Columbus area, and they're I really haven't had too many tough experiences on the phone, which a lot of calls and not too many bad experiences. So it's been
I,
good.
yeah, I will also say that it is not uncommon for your name to show up in a 5-star Google review.
Yeah, I like
Which just
to.
speaks to that first impression, and how
Yeah,
right off the bat you're taking care of the customer. So it's like, sometimes they build this rapport with you that I would
yeah.
say ends up helping us sell the job for sure.
100%. Yeah. I try to. And like I said, the more informed the customer is, the easier the estimator's job is. They don't have to go through everything. They don't have to keep following up with them about what's getting done. I'm trying to take detailed notes, let the estimator know what's getting done, and then just basically prep the customer to see the estimator, whether it's introducing them, saying what they're going to be, what car they're driving, if they're going to be 10 minutes early, 10 minutes late, just little things like that that a lot of companies won't provide to the customer that we can do. And I mean, I think that makes or breaks a deal for sure.
Yeah. The other thing that you do, it's almost like a game of Tetris, but you organize the sales reps' schedules.
Oh yeah.
So, the one thing that Baker's really good at is, if a customer wants a certain time on a certain day, if we don't have the availability, often you figure out how to work it out. You kind of do this back and forth. You'll move things around on the schedule. You'll contact our sales reps. You'll see maybe if someone's open to do a Saturday, a late evening.
Hmm.
Talk about kind of some of the best practices you have in there and how you maneuver things. You might line things up so that they're close to each other. What are some of the things that you look for when you're making those decisions?
Yeah. So I feel like it's all about, like, I know the sales team as well as I possibly can right now, I feel like. So tailoring those estimates for them is super important, whether it's, if someone's asking for something more design heavy, and a lot of people call, of course, they're asking about, our women-owned business and things like that, and they want to strike on these certain things, and especially like design heavy. Our designer Gabby, she's one of the best. If I can tell someone's struggling with with a design issue, I'm like, boom, that sounds like a perfect estimate for Gabby. If someone's looking for something straightforward, they're quick, they're easy, they want to get it rolling. I have an estimator that is quick, concise, and can ready to go. So figuring out, knowing your team can probably help you set up the estimate as well. And managing the schedule is tough. But I'd say, having everything out right in front of me is super easy. Obviously, we keep adding estimators, so it's getting clogged and clogged. But we're trying to work it out and make sure everybody gets on the right job, because I've been out in the field and I know what a good estimate feels like, and I know what a bad
Yeah,
estimate feels like. So I think it's kind of nice to be out there and be like, oh, okay, I actually know what I'm setting them up for. So
for
yeah.
sure. Sure. All right. Talk about how you monitor our social media and what that looks like. Maybe even talk about the Meta platform, but how are you monitoring social and what all does that entail?
Yeah, so a day to day, usually, of course, I'm checking leads and striking them while they're hot. But once I have some downtime and everybody's been reached out to and people are calling in, I usually like to check our Facebook a handful of times a day, make sure all our comments are updated. Sometimes it actually ends up being a lead if someone, types a comment like, "Hey, do you guys paint brick?" Simple things like that. All it takes is a quick response, and next thing you know, hey, I'm getting a call. Hey, I'm the person that just messaged you about painting brick, and boom, that's an estimate. And that might not just be brick. That might be for a whole exterior, and all they were asking is a simple question. So you never know, and the faster you're on that is the better. I'd say as far as Meta goes, like same thing with Instagram, responding to comments, talking to other painting companies, talking to other people. I've just if I see names, I feel like I've seen a bunch of people from the PCA just commenting on our
Yeah.
stuff,
Yeah.
especially Instagram. So it's nice to see them and see what they're up to and see your world over there. But yeah, Facebook comments are crazy. Like people really want stuff to do and really they really want to reach out, and as long as we can get back to them, it's important. So checking those all day, and then of course the marketing side kind of does itself. We just got to monitor it. So yeah.
Yeah. And I'll say that we respond to all of our comments, even the ones that
Even,
aren't nice.
yeah,
We
even
get
the bad one.
some hecklers on there that, Joe Schmo talking about we're painting something the wrong way because, he's a pro. We'll
Yeah.
respond to those in a nice way. If it's inappropriate, we'll hide it.
Mhm.
But it's always people giving us our praises or asking about work that we do. But I think it's important to say that we respond to all of that as well as all of our Google reviews. We do use AI to help respond to those Google reviews. We also respond to some of them on our own, but
Mhm.
responding to people's comments, Google reviews, all that is super important. I talked earlier about getting leads through Home Depot. There's a service that a lot of people don't know exists, and you can sign up
Yeah.
for it through Home Depot, and Home Depot will send you leads. They don't require you to use Home Depot Behr paint, but they because they don't offer in-house painting at Home Depot. It's a free service that you can sign up for, and we do take advantage of that. We don't get a ton of them, but we do get Home Depot leads, and they filter right into our system just like any other lead.
Yeah.
What other leads are we getting that would be worth mentioning? Can you think of anything?
Yeah, this is another part that kind of ties in with the calendar. A lot of our estimators have these relationships with these remodelers, and of course, these remodelers are very important to us, and these relationships are super important to us. So it's making sure they have room on their calendar to where they can be boom on a remodeler job like that, and they can clear room. And of course, we want to take care of everybody who submits an estimate, but it's these remodelers that like we got to be really tentative to, and they're not going to book a week out. They're going to book the next day, and we got to have flexibility for them. So maneuvering that, and that's where a lot of good leads can come from, of course. But that's things that we've worked for. And I'm trying to think some other ones. So a couple of me and some other estimators are in our BNI groups. So a lot of the times I'll get messages to either my direct phone or our other estimators' direct phones saying, "Hey, I heard you're the painter of the group. I have a lead for you," and they'll be able to give leads that way.
Yeah.
So a lot of like kind of it's like a inner circle of Columbus people that are all networking and stuff like that. So that's a really good leads. Usually those leads are super important, and take care of those. I'm trying to think of some other ones, but it's definitely those remodelers, those networking groups, and things like that can really help get fill that schedule up for sure.
Right on. I'll talk about one thing that we follow. It's called the rule of three, and this is something
Yeah.
that I adopted from Freshcoat. And what the rule of three is that you answer your phone within 3 rings, you get out to do an estimate within 3 days, and you complete the project within 3 weeks. And I'm happy to say that we're hitting all of those metrics. Now, as you know, before we had 5 sales reps, which is what we have now,
Yeah.
we were getting booked out way too far.
Yep.
We were booked 2 and 3 weeks out just for an estimate, and what we noticed is that our cancellations went up, and people would call and cancel and say, "I already got the work done." And we knew that that was a problem. We didn't wanna get booked out that far, but we were getting slammed with leads. And now we're down to the rule of 3. How far are we booked out today, Baker? Are we within the rule of 3?
We're what's the Tuesday? We're actually booking out till next week, but that is because a couple of our estimators are on vacation right now, so there's 3 estimators out there fighting. So that's why. But I'd say if our other 2 estimators were here this week, we'd probably be booking at about Friday. So I think I feel like we'd be on the spot. I'm booking out Monday as we speak. So.
Okay, cool. And how difficult was it to get someone scheduled when they called in and you said we're booked out 3 weeks for an estimate? Was that difficult or were people cool with it?
Both. I mean, I've gotten both sides. I'd say, well, I need somebody here today, and I'd be like, I'd have to explain. And also, people would say, okay, I'll take an estimate in 2 weeks, but then since an estimate took 2 weeks, is that going to take me a month to get painting done? As Michael and Katie are texting me saying, hey, we got jobs. We have some painters that want to paint, of course, and we want to fill up that painter schedule as well on the production side of things. So it's hard, and then I would have to tell the customer, hey, if everything goes well on this estimate and you want to move forward, I can guarantee you that I know the estimate's 2 weeks away, but if you make a decision here soon, we'll be able to get that job still processed in our super super fast time. So having a little bit of reassurance is all it takes. Obviously, people don't want to hear it, and so I would miss leads and we would miss scheduled estimates for that. But now it's getting a little bit better, and we can get to them quick and produce their job quick. So we're hitting
Yeah.
both there, so it's perfect.
Yeah, and I would say now I don't have strong data on this. This is more feelings generated, but I believe since we got our lead time on estimates down, since we're closer to that rule of 3, I think it's actually helped our close rate.
It
The
has.
other thing, I mean, it has to. I know I can't quite pinpoint that in terms of the data. The other
Mhm.
thing that I would say is another thing that we do, which I did not always do, but we currently will do same day estimates. And my other thought on that, and this is more, I'll say data plus feelings, is that people who want same day estimates are serious buyers. There was a
Yep.
time back in the day when someone would call me and be like, well, can't you come out today? And I used to get so annoyed. It's funny. I used to get so annoyed when people would say it to me. And I'd be like, oh my gosh, they wanted me to come out today. I'm like, what's wrong with them? And I've
How neat.
completely changed my tune on that because I think that actually they're a buyer. And when you can get out there same day, we have, again, don't have all the data, but I'm telling you that we have a higher close rate. So we really try to prioritize same day estimates. And then just to kind of build this out a little bit more, we've got 5 estimators. They're doing 3 estimates a day. We schedule them for an hour and a half estimate time. They're doing 3. We think that's the sweet spot. So we're doing about 75 estimates a week. Any other call outs on this, on our process here, Baker?
Are we
Can you
cut
hear me?
out? Back?
Oh,
Yeah, we're back.
you got any other call outs like on our process here or anything? Did we
No,
miss
you
anything?
cut out where you're talking about our estimates were about an hour and a half. Sorry.
Yes, estimate's about an hour and a half. We've got 3 appointments a day per estimator. We're hitting about 75 estimates a week.
Yep.
That feels like a sweet spot for us. We will sometimes put 4 on someone's plate, or it also gives us the flexibility to have those same day appointments. We are doing estimates Monday through Friday, but we will throw in Saturday estimates if someone really
Yeah.
needs it, or later evening estimates. Our sales team is pretty flexible, especially in our peak season.
Yeah, and I was gonna go. I mean, this information is definitely from you, and this is your study. I feel like, but the same thing as same day estimates, kind of the same thing goes for weekend estimates.
Yeah.
Um, those customers are at home. They're a little bit comfier. They're not at work or in a rush. They're in the right headspace, and they're usually with their whole family. So you're able to catch the husband and wife, or whatever scenario they're in, the daughter and the mom or whatever, you're able to catch them both together. And sometimes, like, this is straight from you, but that you're able to catch them in a more comfortable spot to
Yeah.
where you're more likely to make a decision. And same with same day estimates. Same thing goes for Saturdays, because they're just comfier in the headspace, so it helps out the sale a lot.
I'm with you on that, because I tend to believe that if people are going to have you come over on the weekend when they've got some downtime, they must be pretty serious. They're not just
Yeah,
screwing around.
we only got one Saturday, and you know how we love our Saturdays. So if
That's
you're willing
right.
to have one of us sitting there, then must be something, right?
All right, awesome. Well, Baker, I think we covered it. We covered our whole process in about 35 minutes. I think we crushed it.
It's already been 35, huh? There we go.
Yeah. All
All
right.
right.
Well, listen, that's a wrap. Big thanks for
Perfect.
joining me, and we will see y'all here next time.
Thank you for joining us on Women in Paint. We hope you feel compelled to follow your own path and use your compassion, strength, and skills to build a career in the paint industry. And if you like this episode as much as we did, give it a simple click to subscribe so we can invite you back to our next episode. And be sure to share it on all your socials. Remember, Women in Paint, stir up more than just a can of eggshell.